Do you want to connect with your audience and build a relationship that goes beyond sales pitches and product promotions? From sharing your team's accomplishments to funny office anecdotes, there are really simple and straightforward ways to create content that resonates with your audience and also helps you humanize your brand. My name is Brian, and I'm the implementation manager here at Repurpose House, and I welcome you to Monthly Maintenance, a video series where we'll cover all of your social media maintenance needs. Let's dive in. Now, Bill Gates wrote an essay in 1996 titled "Content is King." He knew it to be true then, and it's remained pretty darn true ever since. However, as time has passed, the meta has kind of shifted, and thus humanizing your brand through content has become a gateway to connecting with your audience. In fact, Sprout Social conducted a survey and found that 64% of consumers want brands to connect with them, which is absolutely huge. This paradigm shift has forced many brands to rely on social media influencers to supplement their otherwise pretty traditional marketing approach, but this doesn't have to be the end-all be-all. Your audience is really just as human as the rest of us, and the truth is that humans crave connection. So, with that said, let's chat about our top 3 tips for creating short-form content to help you connect with your audience. Number 1, rep your team. It is never, ever a bad time to show off how awesome your team members are. Helping your audience also put faces to the name while recognizing those team members on social media is one of the easiest ways to humanize your brand. Let's start with birthdays. Now, I don't know about you, but I have yet to meet anyone that doesn't have one of these. You might create videos where maybe the team is just singing happy birthday to someone, or just simply recognizing them by sharing a photo. Both are great. Next, we'd have accomplishments. So, new certifications? Check. Promotions? Check. Announcing new employees? Also a good idea. All 3 of these would make for really great social media posts. The final piece here would be events. Now, traveling, as I'm sure you know, is pretty awesome. And pictures and videos that accompany the journey can make for really, really great pieces on social media. Maybe someone on the team has recently gotten married. Those usually also come equipped with photos and videos that, you guessed it, are awesome to share on social media. Maybe somebody had a child or adopted a child. Definitely something worth celebrating on social. Tip number 3, sharing behind the scenes footage. Now, people love to peer behind the curtains and see what's going on behind the scenes, and everyone, I mean everyone, wants the scoop. Let's give it to them. My first piece here for you would be a day in the life. Now, from the coffee to the couch. That's what they want to see. Documenting and showcasing the moments that make up a day can captivate in a click. Now, it could be you, it could be a teammate, or maybe you rotate through the entire staff. Either way, showing someone's day from start to finish can make for an entertaining video, and it might end up being just a little outside short form content, more toward 5 to 10 minutes after edits, but I assure you it is worth it. Next, we would have company culture. Now, this could be images or videos that capture what it means to be part of your team. Maybe you do Hawaiian Shirt Fridays. Maybe you're like Repurpose House and you do fun quarterly challenges for your staff. Next, company events. It's a thing. Maybe you have really big company events that you put on throughout the course of the year or at certain times of the year. You can take some pictures, maybe some videos, and share that and give some people the insight on what that's like. Now, I do have a tip for you when it comes to these moments. I think it's important that you make sure that it's a mix of both professional and personal. What I mean by that is you don't have to skew one way or the other, but kind of try to tiptoe that line. And if you do have to err one way, I would say go toward the side of personal. Just make sure, of course, as always, it is tasteful, since these things live online forever. Next, tip number 3, share those stories. Now, storytelling, as you probably know, has been around for a few days now, and people really enjoy a good story. You may wonder, Brian, what story should I even tell them? Well, a great place to start would be interesting stories. You can shed light on situations your audience may be interested in or even potentially unaware of. For instance, let's say maybe you're a law firm that represented someone publicly in a really notable case. You could share the interesting tidbits of that experience, or let's say you're a public speaker. Maybe you spoke at an event and at some point the lights or the audio cut out and you had to go a cappella for the remainder of the event, yelling as loud as you can for a crowd of thousands to hear. I'm sure that there are some interesting, tasteful stories you could share in that vein. Maybe not as intense, but definitely worth the share. Next, I would say relatable stories are great, and I break this into two separate categories. Number one is origin stories, the rise of the hero, if you will. You might be surprised at just how relatable the trials and tribulations and triumphs that shaped you as well as your company can be in really helping your audience see themselves in what you do. Next would be funny stories. Now, I understand. Nobody really expects you to go out here and be a comedic genius, but a little bit of humor can go a long way. For instance, one of my family members founded a company many moons ago, and they started from very, very humble beginnings. In fact, the office was so small that you could probably hear people thinking if you really listened close enough. And I doubt that anybody dared to reheat fish in the microwave for lunch. It probably was not an option. But at the time, it was actually more cost effective for them to have two lines, believe it or not. One where you could make calls, one where you could receive calls. And the latter was dubbed eternally as the bat phone. And everyone remembers the bat phone. Now, I'm sure that if you got in touch with the founding few, they could put together a good few stories that are pretty funny about their times with the bat phone. I understand that maybe your company raised a wealth of capital and didn't encounter these sort of humbling moments, but I'm sure if you dig, there are some that, again, tastefully could be shared with a dash of humor. So those are our top 3 tips for creating short form content that humanizes your brand and connects with your audience. As always, if you have any questions or any feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Feel free to reach out to me via email at brian@repurposedhouse.com. That is BRIAN at repurposedhouse.com. And as always, it's been a privilege as well as a pleasure. Take care, friends.